Where do we learn how to communicate from? We learn how to communicate from our homes. And there's something called a family marinade as it relates to our communication that you have to be mindful of.
Yeah.
Share it with them.
Well, it's your environment. You think about if you were to take a piece of steak and get out on the grill. Before you put that steak on the grill, you're going to put it in a nice marinade overnight. You're going to wrap it in foil and let the juices sink in nice and good. And then when you're ready the next day to put it on the grill, it has been saturated in the flavors from that marinade. And so in the same way, when you grow up in a household with certain dynamics, you're saturated in that dynamic, and the good and the bad. And so when you grow up and you become an adult and go into your own relationships, if you don't become aware and get the training that you need to remove all the baggage and the negative things, you're going to operate with your marinade. You're going to operate with all the things that have been put into you through your life growing up, those bad attitudes, the way that you talk to people, the lack of communication, all of that you're going to unfortunately pour onto your spouse.
And as we always say, children learn through observation and participation. It's not necessarily the lessons that you say, sit down, son, sit down, daughter, I'm going to give you a quick lesson.
Or don't do this, do that. They don't listen to that.
They look at what you do.
Exactly.
They emulate what you do because they're computers. So if you're speaking to your spouse with a negative tone or constantly calling your husband out of his name, then you're teaching your child how to communicate so that when they enter into adult relationships, they will take that same pain, that same hurt, that same bitterness, that same pattern into their relationships, and they'll wind up polluting the other person based upon what they've learned from their home.
Yes, absolutely. We overcame some of that, didn't we? Talk about what we've overcome.
Well, we struggled in the very beginning because we have different relationship styles or different communication styles. And so what happens is the way that you communicate represents, in essence, your own agenda and way of doing things. And conflict are when two agendas operate in the same space at the same time. And there's no type of opportunity for there to be harmony. And so because I would say things that were just on my heart and didn't think about how I was saying what I was saying, it would negatively affect you.
Sure. And I think my level of sensitivity, I mean, whatever that is in my marinade that allowed me to be so sensitive to things would make whatever criticism or however you came at me even more heightened. So there's something that you have to do to come about a balance, you know, and there are tools. Thank God there are tools that you can learn how to operate in a relationship functionally and have happiness, be in love, have passion. Thank God.
Yes. And the thing is, you've got to get to the point where you realize that, you know what, if things are going to change in my relationship, I've got to look at me. Because I can't change her sensitivity. That's something she has to work on. She can't change how I may be as, I don't know, honest and as raw as I am. That's probably a good way of saying it. I was just raw, and I didn't think about how was it affecting her. And so when you get to the point where you realize that, you know what, at the end of the day, the lowest common denominator in every relationship you enter into is you, then that means that you look at yourself and make adjustments within yourself.
Major changes take place when you start looking at yourself, because now you've taken the focus off of your partner, because all this time you're going like this, you're focusing on your partner. You never really focus on yourself. Even when you could be sitting in a service listening to the church and the pastor said something and you're thinking, hope husband heard that. And you're not even taking that word for yourself. You're not even receiving what the Lord might be trying to say to you. But it's not until you start to look at yourself and your own issues and just really working on you that things really can start to get better in your relationship, because now he's able to work on him without your nagging criticism, and you're not even focused on him. You're focused on empowering and bettering yourself.
That's right. So folks, listen, if you have been killing your marriage with your tongue, tame your tongue, right?